The EU was warned Brexit would put the wind under Swexit's wings, as Eurosceptics tipped the bloc would crumble, while Sweden's own calls to leave Brussels continue to grow. Since the UK historically voted to exit the EU, anti-Brussels sentiment has grown across the bloc, with Euroscepticism on the rise in nations such as France and the Netherlands. After the major row over the EU's vaccination call to control the number of jabs entering the UK erupted last week, anger towards Brussels, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, has also spiked. Many inside Brussels warned that such a tactic could undermine the bloc's pledge to rebuild transatlantic relations, with one diplomat claiming a bloc on vaccines would start a trade war with the US. With Brexit now a reality for the UK, other nations have looked emulously at Britain, as it now begins its bold plan to reinvigorate its own economy and take back control of its laws and waters. Among those EU member states, are Sweden, who previously warned that if Brexit was voted for in the UK, Swexit rhetoric could rise with the electorate. Jan-Erik Gustafsson, chairman of No to EU, said Brexit would allow his group to prosper, telling news agency TT before the referendum, "Evidently we would have a lot more wind under our wings if Brexit happens." It was a view shared by Goran von Sydow, deputy director of the Swedish Institute for European Policy Studies, who argued that it would open up a wider question on what the EU actually does for Sweden. He added, the EU will be changed by Brexit, as well as for other reasons in the coming years. In that kind of development, people would have to ask themselves, what does Sweden want with its EU membership? The UK's relationship with Sweden was enduring while Britain was inside the bloc. Both nations joined together on 88% of votes between 2009 and 2015, and even successfully led a charge to secure the first-ever EU budget cut back in 2013. For Triding, deputy chief executive officers of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of southern Sweden, argued in a comment piece for The Local in 2016 that because of the close bond between Sweden and other Nordic nations, Brexit was always going to be a difficult scenario. Mr. Triding also claimed it would give Swexit supporters an enormous morale boost. He wrote, the UK is one of Sweden's most important trading partners and Brexit would over time erode that relationship to the cost of billions for both parties. Culturally, the Brits have their biggest fans in the Nordic countries. You could say that Scandinavians are so in love with British culture that we sometimes find it difficult to see the flaws that do of course exist.